Well, hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video, and today I'm going to talk about something that's been on my mind since the year started actually. It's 2024. It made me realize it's been 10 years since the year 2014, and 2014 was a really interesting year for me. I was like 14, 15 years old at the time, and it was basically the phase where I was discovering a lot of new things, like new music, new experiences, but especially the new movies that came out that year because now that it's been, I've always stood by this since, that year happened, that 2014 is my favorite year of movies ever. And I don't think everybody will probably agree with that, but it's just my personal favorite because of, it was the phase of me discovering new things. So of course I have a lot of personal attachment to that particular year, and especially the movies that came out that year. Not only that, but I was also discovering a lot of the older movies that I've never seen before, like Forrest Gump. Like I had never seen Forrest Gump until the year 2014. Like I was just in this phase of I have to watch as much movies as possible because like I need to know why this is in the top list of IMDb and all that stuff. But also a lot of the movies that came out that year really it made me excited to want to go see them. And my first indie movie, well, yeah, you could call it an indie movie. We'll get into the list later, but my first indie movie experience was actually that year in 2014. Let me just pull up the list so that we can talk about all the movies that came out that year. So I remember exactly that the first movie I ever watched in that year in theaters was the Lego Movie. That was a fun experience. Like I have so much good memories of that, and the time when the song "Everything Was Awesome" was like so big, and of course I remember the Oscars the year after when they did that performance. Then you have the Grand Budapest Hotel. I remember that was my first Wes Anderson movie I've ever seen. I've never seen a Wes Anderson movie ever before. I was just 14, 15 years old at the time. So, and this is the part that makes the 10 years really iconic, because there were actually 3 Marvel movies that came out so close to each other, and they weren't even produced by the same studio. So you had Captain America: The Winter Soldier, probably the best MCU movie out there. Well, probably like the solo one. I definitely really love the last 2 Avengers movies, but as a solo MCU movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier is clearly the best one. And then you have The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is definitely a grower on me. I look back with such fond memories with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was such a phase to be in that, like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man era. Like I remember the excitement, the trailers, the TV spots. I was so hyped for this movie, and it's not a perfect movie, but I get to have fun with it. It's fun. It's a fun time, and I love it. I even went to see the re-release not too long ago in May. Was it in May? Yeah, the re-release, and it brought me back so many memories because I actually went to see the re-release at the exact same theater that I went to see it the first time. So that was fun. And then just a few weeks later, I remember X-Men: Days of Future Past came out. Another Marvel movie from Fox. I had MCU, Sony, now Fox, and X-Men: Days of Future Past. Such a probably the best X-Men movie, close to first class. I don't know. Speaking of X-Men, I'm so excited to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Can't wait to see Hugh Jackman again on the big screen as this character. And then we had on June 6th, we had The Fault in Our Stars. This was like the first kind of like I don't know if you want to say like this is not a rom-com. I would say it's just like a coming of age teen drama. It was the first time I seen a movie like that in a theater, so that was a really fun experience. And not only that, but The Fault in Our Stars is such a movie of that era, and I do have the Blu-ray, and every time I pop it in, it just reminds me of 2014 like so much. Like the soundtrack in this movie, like I even downloaded the soundtrack and I listened to it a lot. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. I saw this in theaters as well. It came out the same day as The Fault in Our Stars, but I saw Edge of Tomorrow first. I remember, but I think I saw both 2 movies like back to back. Probably my first Tom Cruise movie in a theater as well. See, lots of firsts when it comes to movies during this year. It's amazing. Now this is my first like indie movie experience in a theater, and it's Begin Again, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Begin Again. Just like The Fault in Our Stars, you pop the Blu-ray in, and it just brings me back to that 2014 time. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, that movie is such a masterpiece. I definitely have to rewatch that again. I love that movie. It's definitely the best one in the trilogy. Guardians of the Galaxy, another Marvel movie from the MCU. That was so iconic. You know, the hype and the song "Hooked on a Feeling." It was so big. Like, I just, a lot of the reasons why I'm so attached to, 2014 in particular is just the era, everything, the hype, and there was just, it was such a perfect year for movies. There's just something about it that really got to me, and especially as a 14, 15-year old kid, and it was yeah, it was a good way to discover all these great new things. Then you have Boyhood, uh one of the best movies of all time. It's such an achievement, the 12-year in the making thing. And then the guest. Yes, I love The Guest. It's definitely a grower. I think a lot of people online are starting to really love that movie over time and stuff, from what I'm hearing. Gone Girl, my first ever David Fincher movie. Again, another first. It was such an amazing experience. I remember that theater was so packed, and I went on opening night. And once you got to all the plot twists, my jaw just dropped. Yeah, I love with Gone Girl. Whiplash, you know, Whip. There's nothing left to be said about Whiplash. It's a masterpiece. John Wick, the first John Wick movie came out in 2014. Nightcrawler, come on. Like, this list just gets better and better the more I talk about it. And Interstellar, not my first Christopher Nolan movie in theaters, but I've been watching every Christopher Nolan movie in theaters since The Dark Knight. So I basically saw after that Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, and Interstellar. I was just continuing a streak of watching the Christopher Nolan movies in theaters. And then The Theory of Everything, which is probably my favorite movie that came out that year. I mentioned it quite a few times on my channel. And the last Hobbit movie. Like, I've mentioned quite a few times on my channel that Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie of all time, the entire trilogy. So, even though the Hobbit movies have been kind of just been good, just okay, I was still very hyped about it. And I remember, oh man, I was watching the trailers over and over, the TV spot on television. The hype was real. The movie actually turned out to be my favorite of the trilogy, Battle of the Five Armies, honestly. Maybe the CGI went a bit overboard in this one compared to Unexpected Journey, but as an overall film, I do enjoy Battle of the Five Armies the most out of the trilogy. And the last movie I saw in 2014 was The Imitation Game. Imitation Game is also one of my favorite movies of all time. A lot of the movies, if that came out in 2014, are part of my best of all time list, because I just have such a personal attachment to this year in general. Discovering new things, and first time watching independent films in theaters. It just makes it more special to me because of that. And whenever I rewatched them, I just remember that era. So yeah, those are all the movies that really made a big impact on me in 2014. And 2014, I'm gonna say it again, but it's literally my favorite year of movies ever. Like, nothing topped that yet. Not only that, but I feel like 2024 is the year I never thought we would reach. I never thought we'd be, 10 years after 2014, after my favorite year of movies. It just makes me feel so old. So what was your favorite year of movies? Let me know in the comments, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next time.